Good morning. We are going to continue the story. Ivan's tries an O level. You know that Ivan's is trying an O level German examination. That means Ivan's is appearing for the O level German examination. Now all the precautions have been taken. Ivan's has appeared for the examination. The invigilator was McCleary. Now here is a plan by Evans to escape. That is the question in the minds of all those who are guarding him, the prison officers, governor. So they have doubt whether really he wants academic qualification or is it a plot to escape. Now let us continue this story, and we have reached very interesting part now. Let's read the question before we go through this passage. Did the governor and his staff finally heave a sigh of relief? You know what has happened? Evans has appeared for the exam. It all appeared, everything went on well. McCleary is left, and the cell in which Evans is there, that is locked up. Now it all appeared that everything is over. Now, did the governor and his staff heave a sigh of relief? Did they feel relieved, or was there something else to happen? Stephens felt pleased. Stephens was very happy that the governor had asked him and not Jackson. So the governor trusted him and not Jackson to see McCleary off the premises, to accompany McCleary up to the gate. Who was accompanying Stephens? And Stephens was very happy. And all in all, the morning had gone pretty well. And it all appeared that everything was fine in the morning on that particular day. The examination went on very smoothly. There was no problem at all. But something stopped him from making his way directly to the canteen for a belated cup of coffee. So it was quite late to have a coffee, and he wanted to go to canteen to have a cup of coffee. But suddenly something stopped him. He was not sure. He wanted to take just one last look at Evans. Before having coffee, he thought that let him have a look at Evans, what he was doing. It was like a program he had seen on TV about a woman who could never really convince herself that she had locked the front door when she had gone to bed. Now you must have come across some people. They're never sure whether they have locked the house or not, locked the front door or not. So that's why they often try to find out really they are locked. Often she had got up 12, 15, sometimes 20 times to check the bolts. And that is the habit in the case of some of them. And like a woman who was there in the TV program, his condition was like that. He just wanted to make sure that everything is fine. And out of doubt, what does he do? He goes and tries to check. And what does it? He re-entered the wing. So he has entered into that wing where Evans was there. And he made his way along to Evans' cell. So he has gone there where? To the Evans' cell. And opened the peephole once more. So once again, he had just opened the peephole. Oh no, Christ, no. There, sprawled back in Ivan's chair. Sprawled. What does sprawled mean? Sprawled means spread out. So who is spread out now? Ivan's chair was a man. So there was somebody sitting there in Ivan's chair, and he was spread out. Semi-second, for half second, Stevens thought it must be Evans. And what was happening there? What was the problem there? A grey regulation blanket slipping from his shoulders. The blanket was slipping. The blanket was falling from his shoulders. So there was a man there, sitting there where the blanket, probably it was about to fall down. It was slipping. But it all appeared that it was not Evans who was sitting there on the chair. His closely cropped hair front, what was there? Closely cropped, cut, irregularly tufted hair. So that bunch of hair, tufted hair, bunch of hair, they were all flooded, awash with fierce red blood. So it was all full of blood which had dripped. So somebody had hit his head, which had dripped. So blood was dropping already through the small black beard and was even now spreading horribly over the white clerical collar, ministerial collar. So it was over now collar, it was over the beard and now over the collar of the dress that he was wearing and down into the black clerical front. So it was falling there on the front of the cloth that he was wearing, which usually the priests wear. Stephen shouted wildly for Jackson. So what does he do? Immediately Stephen starts shouting for Jackson. He was calling out for Jackson. Why? Because now McCleary is injured very badly and therefore he was calling out. Shouting here means he was calling out for Jackson and the words appeared to penetrate the curtain of blood that veiled McCleary's ears. For the minister's hand felt feebly for a handkerchief from his pocket. So he was trying to get the handkerchief, but it appeared that his hand was becoming very feeble, very weak, and held it to his bleeding head. And see, he kept it over the bleeding head. The blood seeping slowly through the white linen. So it was falling there now into the cloth which was there down. He gave a long, low cry out of pain, and tried to speak. But his voice trailed away and his voice started getting reduced, trailed away. So he was not able to speak out proper loudly. By the time Jackson had arrived and dispatched Stephens to ring the police and the ambulance, the handkerchief was a sticky, squelchy. So here squelchy is a very soft sucking sound made when pressure is applied to liquid. So it had become the kind of sound it was producing was of cloth. So it had become very squelchy sucking sound it was making and it had become a solid piece of cloth. McCleary slowly raised himself. His face twisted tightly with pain. So he was feeling a lot of pain. McCleary didn't worry about the ambulance. You don't worry about the ambulance, man. I'm all right. I'm all right. Get the police. I know way. He closed his eyes and another drip of blood splashed like a huge red raindrop on the wooden floor. His hand felt along the table, found the German question paper and grasped it tightly in his blood-stained hand. Get the governor, I know. So he was showing the paper, probably in that German question paper something was there and I know where he was. So he was telling, though he was badly injured, he said, you get the governor, I know where Evans has gone, where he can be located, where he can be found. So here, McCleary was, probably McCleary knew he was injured very badly. So we have to find out how badly McCleary is injured now. Now you can see that blood was all over his body. Then it was dripping down on the cloth that was there down. So he is badly injured. Who is badly injured? McCleary is badly injured, and he tells governor that he knows where Evans has gone. McCleary tells that he knows where Evans is there, and therefore he keeps on telling them they need not worry about him, but they should ask for the governor because he knows where Evans has gone. And the blood was splashing down from his head while he was trying hard to pick up the German question paper. And then all of a sudden, what was there? Almost immediately, sirens were sounding. All of a sudden, there were sirens all around. Prison officers barked orders. They were shouting at each other. They were giving orders. Puzzled prisoners, and prisoners were totally perplexed. They were totally confused, puzzled, confused. Pushed their way along the corridors. Doors were banged. Doors were hit, bolted. So it was a kind of chaotic situation that was there, and force were ringing because Evans had escaped, and within a minute, McCleary, with Jackson and Stephens supporting him on either side, his face now streaked. So streaked here, what does it mean? Streaked means here line now. It was streaked. It was lined and caked with drying blood. Was greeted in the prison yard by the governor. Perplexed, totally confused, and Green very sad. Governor had taken all the precautions. Despite all that, Evans had escaped. We must get you to hospital immediately. I just don't. You have called the police? Have you called the police? He asked governor. Who asked? It's a McLeary who asked. And he says, we want to take you to hospital. Oh, yes, yes. They are on their way, but I'm all right. I'm all right. Look here. Awkwardly opened the German question paper. And there was something in the German question paper and thrust it before the governor's face and just showed him. There, it's there. Do you see what I mean? The governor looked down and realized what McCleary was trying to tell him. A photocopied sheet had been carefully and cleverly superimposed. So what had happened there? Very cleverly, a Xerox copy or photocopied sheet had been carefully and cleverly superimposed over the last page of the question paper. On the last page, it was kept there. It was stuck there. And probably it was all the plan how he can escape from the prison. So what governor wanted to take McCleary to the hospital, but he was insisting on calling the police. And then after that, what he has done? He has opened the German question paper, and then he has shown to governor, and he has shown that there was a photocopied sheet which was cleverly laid on the blank space of the question paper. You see what they have done, governor. You see, his voice trailed off again as the governor, dredging the layers of long neglected learning. Probably governor was trying to recall all that what he had learned long back, and he was trying to recall, willed himself to translate the German text before him. So he was trying to translate that German text that was there before him, and he was trying to pull up. He was now dredging here. It means pulling up from the bottom. So he was trying to probably remember that, recall that what he has learned long back, that German language. And what is there? Sei sollen dem schon verabredeten Plan Genob folgen. Der wichtige Zielpunkt ist drei Minuten war Ende des Examens. So it's all in German language. So you must, and what is the meaning of that? And he was trying to translate that. So it was that you must follow the plan already something. The vital point in time is 3 minutes before the end of the examination. But something, don't hit him too hard. So what you have to do? You have to hit on McLean's head, but don't hit. So that something is. So you have to hit McLean's head, but you don't hit him too hard. Remember, he's a minister, he's a priest, and don't overdo the Scots accent. So when you are being accompanied by the prison officer, don't overdo that Scottish accent. A fast approaching siren wailed to its crescendo. So it has reached its loudest part. So in the case of a musical note, the loudest point is crescendo. The great doors of the prison yard were pushed back and a white police car squealed to a jerky. So here, now what has happened? Squeal again, sound, that crying sound, squealed like mouse sound, squealed to a jerky halt beside them. So the police car suddenly stopped. With a jerk, it stopped, and that's why it made a kind of sound that was like a mouse squealing. Detective Superintendent Carter swung himself out of the passenger seat. So now Detective Superintendent Carter has come down, saluted the governor. What the hell is happening, sir? And turning to McLeary, Christ, where's hit him? So here now he inquires what has happened to McLeary. So McLeary is not interested to give answer to what the superintendent has asked him, detective superintendent has asked him, but McLeary cut across whatever explanation the governor might have been given. So before governor gives explanation to him, Ellsfield Way officer, and he says that Evans and gone to Ellsfield. I know where he was. He was breathing heavily and leaned for support against the side of the car, where the imprint of his hand was left in tarnished crimson. So the imprint, so it's in reddish in color, crimson. It's all tarnished. So in bewilderment, in shock, Carter looked to the governor for guidance. What? Take him with you. If you think he will be all right. He's the only one who seems to know what's happening. So he's the only person who knows what is happening. Now Carter opened the back door, so Carter helps McLeary to sit inside, and within a few seconds the car leapt away in a spurt of gravel. So with a great speed the car left that place and it has started moving towards Ellsfield Way. Why Ellsfield it was going? It was going to Ellsfield because McCleary claimed that he had gone to Evans had gone to Ellsfield. And there it was, staring up at the governor from the last few lines of German text. From Ellsfield Way, drive to the Headington roundabout way. Yes, of course, the examinations board was in Ellsfield Way. And someone from the board must have been involved in the escape plan. From the very beginning, the question paper itself, the correction slip. Now the governor was also quite brilliant. He started thinking, now why Ellsfield Way? The examination board was also there. Is it somebody from the board helped Evans to escape? The question paper, then correction slip. The governor turned to Jackson and Stephens. I don't need to tell you what has happened, do I? His voice sounded now. Now he has turned to Jackson and Stephens, prison officers who were responsible for that. And he was quite angry with them. Though he was appearing quite calm when he was expressing, one can see the scathing contempt, very harsh dislike to these who were who were supposed to guard, who were supposed to take care, who were handed over all the responsibilities. And despite all that, Evans had escaped. Now here there's a question before we read that passage. Let's read this question. Will the injured McLeary be able to help the prison officers track Evans? See, McLeary himself was injured. So will he be able to track Evans? And which one of you two maroons was it who took Evans for a nice little walk to the main gates and waved him bye-bye? So who was that stupid fellow maroon who accompanied him till main gate and couldn't find him? It was me, sir, stammered Stephen. Just like you told me, sir. I could have sworn. What? Just like I told you, say? What the hell? When you rang, sir, and told me. When was that? The governor's voice was a whiplash. So it was like whip. It was like lashing. Because governor had not conveyed. Somebody else had done that. You know, sir. About 20 past 11 just before. You blithering idiot. Now you worthy of hatred. Idiot. Stupid fellow. It wasn't me who rang you. Don't you realize? But what was the use? He had used the telephone at that time, but only to try unsuccessfully once more to get through to the examinations board. So when he was attempting to call up the examinations board, meanwhile somebody had called up and conveyed Stephens to accompany Evans, to accompany McLeary up to the prison gate. And now here he realizes Evans has escaped. McClary is accompanying the prisoner officers. He's accompanying them to track Evans. Does he really track Evans? Are they successful in that? Let's see in the next part. An element of suspense is left over here. Very interesting part. Next part is going to be, I'm quite sure, you must be very eager to listen to this remaining part. Thank you. Goodbye.